the first one when I was gone on the event page?
No, last week did not get reposted.
You didn't see it? Okay. All right. Let me double check on that. I was having a little trouble with internet connection at that moment, and I wasn't positive that it had actually posted properly, and then it got so busy I never did check, so I apologize. I was seeing all this Florida crazy girls. They're amazing. Okay. So here we go. Welcome to part 2. And I'm going to start sharing my screen over to all of our slides. And we're going to dive in. And I hope that you have your participant worksheet number 1 for session 2. And here we go. This one goes a lot faster than the last one did. The one last week was longer because of all of the numbers and all the income information. But I thought it was wonderful, and I loved being able to share all that with you. I was so excited. Speaking of sharing, we're really struggling here for some reason. I think my computer has been mad at me since I haven't paid any attention to it since last week when I was in Florida. Okay, whoops, there we go. Alrighty, can you all see that? Future Leader Training Program Session 2.
Yeah.
All right, excellent. So today's session is all about making sure that you grow a strong party calendar. And so parties are, hold on a second, try to get this. The spinning wheel of death is in the middle of my computer screen. There we go. Okay, so we talked about that. I love how they don't number my slides now. Oh no, they didn't number my slides. Okay, so we're going to dive in. All right, so today we're going to cover what a successful party looks like in terms of results, the importance of booking 2 parties at each party, ways of building rapport, relationships at our parties, ways to motivate a future host, and we'll talk about how we plant seeds and things like that. And then we're going to talk about overcoming objections. So we talked last week about when we want to build a fast-growing team, that doing 8 parties a month is a very strategic method for doing that. A lot of people are find that that's just way too many. But more importantly than how many you're actually doing each week is how many you're doing each month is how many new bookings are you getting at each of those parties. And actually, that is what we're going to focus on today. A strong business is built from strong parties, not just plain old parties. And so we have something called the Fab 40 formula to ensure that each and every one of your parties is a success. I want you to pull out the first page of your participant worksheet, and we're going to talk about remember we talked about the Strive for 5, and now 8 parties per month is the first component of the Strive for 5. Hopefully each of those 8 parties per month leads to 2 new bookings per party, and so on, and lather, rinse, repeat. But then this whole concept of the Fab 40 formula is all about what are the things that cause a strong party. You know, not every party is going to be a strong party. It's just the way it goes. But this is kind of a neat litmus test for you to analyze how your parties are looking. You know, and here's the reality. We're going to have some parties that are going to have 3 guests, and you'll book 2 parties and get 1 new team member and sell $700. And so the numbers will be all skewed. But statistically, what we're going to talk about is how these numbers actually play out and why 40 is so important. Statistics show that 25 to 30% of the people that you invite actually can make it to the party. Personally, I think that number is a little bit on the high side. But it depends on your area. You know, some parts of the country, people just love to come to a party, and 40 people will easily get them the 10 that they want. We really want 10 buying guests at a party. So if you can get 8 buying guests at your party and 2 outside orders, then that's good too. Ensuring 10 buying guests will make the odds more likely that there may be at least 3 people at that party who might be interested in learning more about the business. And this is crucial to growing your team. The goal is that basically at every party, you find a way to invite 3 people to the Monday night Tell Me More call. Now, wouldn't that be actually a great goal? So think about that. You know, every Monday night, we do this Tell Me More call at 7:30 on this Zoom. What if at every party, your goal as a future leader or as a new leader or as a growing leader is to invite at least 3 people to one of those calls? And it might be that you do it the very next day or that night and say, I just love talking to you. I don't know if you're looking for a fun side gig. You sure seemed to love it at the table. I wanted to invite you to listen to a call tomorrow night at 7:30 or next Monday night at 7:30. So, and also 10 buying guests statistically are going to make it easier for you to book at least 2 new parties, and that's the most critical number of all. So it does start with 40 invited guests, because if less guests are invited, it has a trickle-down effect on everything else that we do for the most part. This is my own little caveat. If you have 20 buying guests, you would think, oh, we're going to find 4 new bookings and we're going to find 6 people to invite. The really funny thing is that when you get a whole lot more than 11 or 12 buying guests, unless you have help with you, you're going to have less and less time with the people at the party, and you're going to be less likely to find people interested in the business and fewer bookings because you won't have time to spend with the people. So just so you know, more is not always more. Kind of interesting, right? So because it's a numbers game, focus on 40 invites and the rest should fall into place. So today we're going to focus on getting 2 bookings at each party to build your business. Okay, so we're going to talk about the power of 2. So with 8 to 10 guests in attendance, the best place to book a party, of course, is at your party, and the easiest way to build a calendar. I mean, I can't even, here I am, I'm always trying to I get into these months that are sort of a rut, and you go, oh my gosh, I'm having to reinvent the wheel. But gosh, it's so much easier when we can book them from parties. We do have to know that obviously postponements and cancellations are just normal. And so we do want to do everything that we can to book more parties than necessary. But I wanted to show you that when we book 1 party from each party, it's really not enough to grow the business. I'm going to show you how this works. This is chart 1. I don't want to show you chart 2 yet because it throws everything off. So let's pretend that you all of a sudden pull off finding 8 bookings. That would be freaking amazing, and I'd be really proud of you. Because let's face it, book 1 party and get several parties from that one, and then you can get everything rolling. But to book 8 parties right out of the gate, that would be fabulous. But here's the reality. You're probably statistically going to have 2 postponements or cancellations in that month, which means you'll hold 6 parties, right? So let's say from each of the 6 parties, you're booking 1 new party. So you have 6 new bookings. So that's pretty great. Let's pretend, here we go, suspension of disbelief. Let's pretend that all 6 of those bookings are for the next month, for the month of November. And in November, you do 6 parties. And because we have cancellations, postponements, we lose 2, maybe. And so we're down to 4. We hold 4, which is great. And we book 1 party from each party. So we have 4 new bookings for December. So in December, we do 4 parties. Yay! We lose 1 because of Santa and all that other stuff. And we end up holding 3 parties. We book 1 from each, and now we're down to 3 parties for January. Wait, what happened to my 8 parties? Uh-oh. Problema. Okay. So this is where the power of 2 comes into play. Very different. You're like, well, 1 or 2, what's the difference? Holy smokes, wait till you see this. This is ridiculous. So let's pretend, again, you start with 8 bookings. And you lose 2. You hold 6 parties, and you get 12 bookings because you're booking 2 on average from each party. Month number 2, you start with 12 bookings, you lose 3, you hold 9, you book 18. Go right ahead, please. Then in month 3, you've got 18 bookings. I don't recommend this, by the way. What you would do at this point is you'd be handing parties off to your team members. But meanwhile, you're going to lose 5, so you're going to hold 13. There are people on our team holding 13, 15 parties, actually. There are some. And out of the 13 parties, you're booking 26. That's a lot of hostesses. That's crazy. Even if you're booking 1.5 parties at each party, like, between 1 and 2, not just 1, imagine what it would do for your business. You'll be working with a full calendar, and more importantly, you'll be meeting more people to grow your business and grow your team. My philosophy when we are interested in growing a team is that we go to every party for the sole purpose of staffing that team, of finding people. That's our number one goal. But the goal, we have to get more bookings in order to make that happen. Okay, so let's go to participant worksheet number 2. And this is the one that is a chart, and there are 2 columns. The first one says the reason to host a party, and the second column is my 1-line booking seed. So after the session, not right now, but after we're done, I want to encourage you to write down 20 different reasons why somebody would want to book a party. And then think about how you would turn these reasons into a short 1-liner that you could sprinkle as a booking seed throughout the party. The most important piece is trying to identify why each person would most likely say yes to hosting with you. How do you know what their why for the party is? And basically, it's by getting to know them throughout the party by asking questions and engaging in conversation. So these are some of the reasons that people would actually host a party. And it isn't just for the jewelry. It might be because they simply love fashion in general. A lot of times it's because they like you and they had fun. And because you asked them. It might be because they have a new house or a new kitchen, or they just redecorated. Maybe they're just doing it to help their host. Maybe they just love to entertain and cook, or they're looking for a chance to have their friends together. So these are the kinds of things that you're going to want to write on participant worksheet number 2 under reasons to host a party. Okay? And then you're going to come up with a 1-liner booking seed that you're going to use throughout the party, just as you're talking to people or even in your own presentation. So it might be that you say, helping their host get the BFF discount. And so you turn that into, and remember when you book your own party, Susan, your host, will get her favorite piece at 70% off. So you turn it into, what would the words be that you would say that would meet the sort of emotional need or pique the interest of different people in the room. Okay, really here's what we're going to do, is that every single party, the goal is to build rapport. And for me, there's the high 5 rule. For me, I'm just kind of naturally curious, maybe nosy. I'm not sure which it is. And I love to ask questions anyway. The first one I always ask is, so how do you know Susie the host? I might ask them, where do you live? What were you doing today? Where did you come from to get to the party? What are you guys doing for Christmas or Thanksgiving? And so you can find your own, these are just some random questions that the company put together, but come up with your own comfortable questions that you can ask to figure out who they are, what they do, their family situation, their hobbies, their jewelry and fashion preferences, things like that. It doesn't mean that we're going to, do rapid fire, Q&A with different people. Okay, now here are your 5 questions. Don't do that. But, we want to find a way to build rapport with these people. And so here's the key, is it'll help you identify what benefits of hosting a party this person would actually gravitate toward. And it might also help you identify some of her objections in advance, so you can sort of mentally prepare for them. We can assume that somebody wants a whole bunch of free jewelry, but meanwhile, we might not be barking up the right tree at all. It could be something entirely different. But if we hear her saying, oh my gosh, I just renovated my whole kitchen and I just love it and we just finished it, that right there is a great conversation starter. Okay, and so we want to share these benefits in a conversational manner so that people will start to think that it seems like a reasonable thing to have you into their home. It's all about building rapport and building the relationships. And that makes us successful in this business. People who don't care about other people are going to have a really hard time growing. It just kind of is what it is. And so if that's not in your nature, become a student of learning how to ask good questions of other people and interested in their answers. Okay, next thing I want you to do is pull out participant worksheet number 3. So in addition to building great rapport and ensuring that everybody's having a fun time, you want everyone at the party to start thinking, obviously, about booking a party of their own. And there are some ways to do that using the product line and the 5-step party to create a desire for more. And so by showing and highlighting the Host Rewards program in several ways, you can increase your bookings. So obviously, whoops, I got somebody really sad. I'm sorry, I can't mute you. So what you're going to want to do is let's going to have you fill in the blanks on the participant worksheet number 3 as we go over these points. So we're going to talk about the 5-step party presentation. So, the first 3 steps of the party presentation can give us lots of opportunities to talk about the host rewards, to share how much free and discounted jewelry you earn when you host a party. So let's dive in just a little bit to see how to make the most of each step to increase your bookings at each party. And I want to point out to you, it's really easy to let yourself off the hook and go, well, there are 5 parts, and if I just pick like the 2 that I like the best, it'll be fine. But seriously, girls, if you're making a pound cake and you leave the eggs out, or the sugar, or the flour, or the cream cheese, I put cream cheese in mine. It's just not going to be pound cake. It's going to be something other than pound cake. And so I want you, and I promise you, I'm telling myself this, I want you to get yourself very comfortable with all 5 of these steps. We all are going to have our favorite part. My favorite part actually is the Q&A. Most people think look at me with I have 2 heads, but that's my favorite part. And you're going to have your favorite part that's easiest for you to get through, but I want you to get used to doing all 5 because it's going to make a huge difference. It's a part of the recipe. So the introduction, so if you have a few of the items your host added to her wish list on your display, put them on her so she can model them. So when you're going through the first step of the party presentation, which is the introduction, thank your host, point out how great she looks, and then you can plant the seed that you're going to help her get them for free or at a 70% discount at the party. And that friends that book a party for her will help her to get most of her favorite pieces at 70% off. Okay, so that's this part here. I wish they would label my little slides here. That would make my life so much easier.
Okay. Can I ask you a quick question?
Sure.
Are you going to be able to share this presentation with us? Because I wasn't able to write fast enough to get some of the first pages down.
Sure. Yeah. I can send it to you.
Okay.
I'll send it to you. It's no secret. It's not a secret. Okay. The second step in the party presentation is called Dress the Guest. And this is the best way to give people a visual of our host program and create desire for the jewelry. Now, when I was selling home decor, we would call it Stack the Hostess. And when I was selling home decor, we would take all these different items because we would figure out like how much our average hostess could get in free and discounted products for her home. And it was pottery and it was silverware and it was, things for the walls and the mantles and the front door. And we would put stuff like all around that, like draper and all these things in boxes of stuff. And people would go, wow, I can get all of that, and it was this great visual, but that's what we're doing here with this. We're creating trays of jewelry or just one. Like I just got ready I have a party tomorrow night and I needed to redo all my jewelry today. So that's what I spent most of my day doing because I'm really slow at this. Most of you are far better at this than I am. I created a tray of jewelry that includes about $600 worth of jewelry. And that's what I'm going to talk about tomorrow in my Dress the Guest. I'm going to find somebody who's wearing a great neckline, who's not wearing a hoodie or a turtleneck. And I'm going to share with the guests that by visually showing that they can get a similar amount of jewelry for free or 50 to 70% discount. I'm going to talk about each piece as I layer the jewels on the guest. I'm going to make it look really pretty. And if I wanted to, I could, create one in silver and one in gold, but you know what? A lot of you are new, and you only have enough to do one tray, and that's perfectly great. That's what I only do, one tray. I know other people tend to do more trays than that, but it's really funny when we do a little bit of romancing the jewelry and show the versatility of our jewelry, and then we show it all together and that this is what our average hostess could get. I think it really goes a long way. Most women are visual learners, and it's super important. The third step of the party presentation is the booking offer. This is where it gets kind of confusing. So I am not going to go into the price of the dice and the booking games. There are some great ways of doing these kinds of things. Offering special dates and our special incentive is a great way of doing it. But the booking offer is basically giving them a special reason for booking a party that night. And it could be a chance in a drawing. It could be, like I said, a game. You can use the host special. You know how we have that special that with a $600 party, you can get something extra for $19 as the hostess, right? And so you can use that $19 in a special way. You can do something where instead of paying $19, they only pay $2 because their birthday month is February, or they only pay $10 because their birthday month is October, or whatever. But you want to use words that make it sound like only you are offering the deal for your hosts when they book a party. Basically what we're doing is that we're taking the company special and making it our own. And that's exactly what we're doing, is making it our own. And so for me, I'll just tell you what I do, but I don't want to get hung up on this. When guests arrive, I have sticky notes that I put on the front of their catalog. And so when they arrive, I'll say, "Hi, I'm Betsey. What's your name?" "Oh, I'm Sharon." "Nice to meet you, Sharon." "Hey, real quickly, Sharon, when's your birthday?" And she'll say, "Oh, it's January 23rd. I'll say, "Great. 2 + 3 = 5. The 23rd. And I add the 2 and the 3 together, and that makes 5. And so that's the day. That's the number that I place on her little sticky note on the front of her catalog with her name on it. And I'll say, "Okay, this is your special number for later." When I get to the part where I'm talking about the ice bracelets and the Chanel necklaces, and these are $89 items, right? I say to them, "And ladies, when you book a party with me in the next, whatever my determination is, 3 weeks or whatever, I'll probably say before Thanksgiving, for my party tomorrow night, you can have any one of these items, the ice bracelet, a Chanel necklace, anything up to $100 for the price of the number that's on your little sticky note." And so some of them, they'll all be checking, like, what number? And so I'll say, "Hey, Sharon, what number did you have?" "Oh, that's right, you have a 5. So for $5, you can, for $5, you can get an extra ice bracelet, an extra Chanel necklace on top of the host rewards that you would normally get at a party." So something to think about. And then of course I remind them about the BFF. So that's just one way to do this. And the question that you're going to have for me is, well, how does the rest of the $19 get paid when we do the party? I pay that. I pay that extra, whatever it is, $9 or $8 or $5 or whatever, because I got a party and I just made money. I will be making money when I do that party. So I don't mind it because it basically got me that booking that night, which is important to me. Okay. Next thing. Another way to do it is to add 3 special dates that you're trying to schedule parties for. It could be that you offer to pay their shipping, that you have a little gift, nothing big, seriously. Entice them with a little something extra if they pick a preferred date. And it creates a sense of urgency if you only offer a couple of dates. Honestly, the way that I've done this, so we call them sparkle dates. The way that I've done this is I make it so that it's a party that's easily within the next 2 weeks, sometimes within the next 10 days. Tomorrow night, I will be offering to book parties for Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, and Tuesday of next week. I know that I'm not going to get a party on Halloween, but which is Wednesday, right? So, but I will be happy to book a party on Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. And make it worth their while, because I really want to hit my goals for October, right? Okay, so you can do that. This is your business and you get to choose how to do that. A couple more ways to share the host rewards program. Rock a wrist party. One of the things that you should do is wear a wrist party somebody could earn when they're hosting. So when you're talking to the guest, somebody's bound to say, I love your bracelet. And you can say, well, which one? And she's likely to say, all of them. And that's your chance to let her know that she can earn every bracelet you're wearing for free or a 70% off discount when she has her friends over. So again, this is just another way of doing it. Showcase the host's favorites. There's another way to do it. Mentioning that most of your hosts get these items for free, 50 or 70% off. And then the statement jewelry. For those of you who have some of the statement pieces, it is great to get those pieces on bodies. One thing that I do one of my favorite things to do at parties is actually to help them build their wish list. And I do that using the little red tickets or whatever color you have that get their double side, the double, you tear them apart. And when people come in, I tell them they've got, however, 10 minutes or whatever to try on jewelry. And then for each piece of jewelry they try on, I'll give them a ticket and that there's a prize at the end. No, my prize is probably just a little sparkly pen, or it's, something tiny. It might be a candy bar or something like that, something small. But they don't know what the prize is. They just know that they're going to get tickets for each piece of jewelry that they try on. And so they'll try it on, they'll take it off. They'll try another piece, they'll take it off. And I'll just keep catching up with them. Okay, wait, how many do you have? Is that 3 or 4? And I'll hand them 3 or 4 tickets. Oh, wait, you've got 10. Okay, here's 10 more. But now they're really getting into the jewelry. And this is how we can help them build that wish list. Super important. Because that helps them to book parties. All these things that we can do, use the order form to build the wish list, offer personal shopping service. I did something for my party tomorrow night where I told them that if they bring me a wish list, if they bring me their Christmas shopping list, that I would give them free shipping. If they bring their Christmas shopping list, I would give them free shipping. Now, that's a little extravagant, but I really wanted them thinking about Christmas. And so if they come with a list of 7 people that they need to be buying for, it's top of mind. I might be able to actually help them do some shopping. So that would be a great thing. Okay, moving on. Again, keeping it super fun. Keeping that thing to 15 minutes is really important. Because it's very easy to get to talking and, watch closely. Are they smiling? Are they joking with you? Are they jumping in and sharing ideas? Are you being one of the girls, or are you being the salesperson? Because honestly, they're going to book with you if they've had a great time. So some fun party themes. Wine and shine. Obviously, we're all used to these kinds of things. In fact, go to page 4 of your participant worksheets, and let's talk about a couple of some of the new party themes, because you can use these to make some notes for yourselves. Party themes and ways to ensure a fun party experience. I love the ones that we've been doing for Ghouls and Jewels. That's been really cute. But the Christmas ones are coming up. Who has some ideas for Christmas? What are some good Christmas themes? I mean, there's always, cocktails, Christmas, and crystal, but like what else? What other ideas? Santa sparkle?
Crystals and Christ doesn't go together.
What?
Crystals and Christ doesn't go together. My gosh. But that's what I was thinking, and it made me start laughing.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. Lori! That is hilarious, girl.
I dare someone to do a Crystals and Christ party.
I dare you.
That's funny.
Is that kind of like Jules and Jesus?
Oh my God. Jules and Jesus, I like that one.
I don't think so. How about like Blitzen and Bling, or Blitzen, Blizzards and Bling? I don't know.
I did cookies and crystals.
Very cute. I love that. Yeah. And they could be a cookie exchange too.
That's what it was.
Did you say Santa and Swarovski?
Yes, there are lots of versions of that. Sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And for those of us who actually have snow sometimes, unlike our friends in Florida, you can do snowballs, sangria, and Swarovski, and, snowballs, schnapps, and Swarovski.
Oh gosh.
Oh.
Cocoa and crystals, there's all. Rudolph. I mean, there are some cute ones that I've seen that have to do with the reindeer. And then I always do, by the way, I always do Santa's secret sample sale. So you know. We'll be talking about that next week. I'll share about that one. Okay. So some of the fun themes. So you want to start getting creative about that kind of stuff. And then the last component is to make a big deal of the BFFs. Now, when we were in Florida, Kay was showing us a slide about how people were making these huge, gaudy, hilarious things that go around the hostess's neck that are, says BFF. And then whenever somebody would book a party, the hostess would grab one of these things off of her neck and she'd put it on the guest who just booked the party and that kind of thing. And you can do all kinds of fun things, but to have a visual about the BFF coupon is really a great idea, because it's something that the guest can turn around and hand to her hostess and say, hey, you're going to get a 70% off piece when, because I'm going to do a party. So, so there are some ways of making that fun and making a big deal out of that too. And then the last thing you want to talk about with this whole thing is this concept of following up with the customers after they get their jewelry to see how they like it. Because, by the time they get their jewelry, they've had a chance to sort of digest what the night was like, and that they'd had a lot of fun, that they realized that there was no pressure that night because you were so nice, and that in fact, by reaching out to them, they're probably going to want to book a party. And so one thing that you can do, and this is not, in my book, a bad idea, and it's not icky. It's fair to say, hey, by the way, did you know that Beyonce ended up getting $500 in free jewelry and 4 items at half price? So just saying, if there was more that you wanted, you might think about doing a party. It really is fair to share what happened at her friend's party. Because I think that a lot of times they're all there and they know that that's what's going to happen. So, I think it's totally fair. Not everybody will agree with me on that, but I would like to actually start doing that and see what happens to my bookings after the fact. Okay.
Betsy?
Yeah.
When you do that too, I think it would actually be good if Beyonce got 500, if you actually held up the $500 worth of jewelry, because, kind of in your mind, $500 sounds like a lot, but when you start to see everything, kind of really hits home. Oh, I could get that, and that.
Get that. Yeah.
Probably good too.
Yeah. And you know what too? So if you're at a party with other people who have done parties with you before, it's fun to call on them and say, hey, Susan, I had so much fun when I did your party a couple months ago. How much did you get in free jewelry? Oh my gosh, I got $375 in free, and I got 4 items at half price. It was awesome. And of course, she's probably wearing some of it too, right? And so, those sort of testimonials can make a big difference too. Michelle, that's a great point. But I'm talking about after the fact, when we're reaching out to those customers and saying thank you, to say, hey, did you know that your hostess back at that party got all this in free? And tell her how much would her party about that. It's really funny that this follow-up thing can become such a branding issue for us. I've noticed that my friends at 31 Gifts have become very good. It's their culture. They've become very good at the thank yous. And there's a thank you email, and then I'll get a little thank you postcard. It's pre-printed from the consultants. I want us to be known for gratitude, and I want us to be known for that quick little email that just says, thank you so much for your order. It was great to meet you at, Beyonce's party, and, and sitting with you and J-Lo and just talking about old times at the Grammys and, and, whatever you were talking about. And, continue the rapport, I guess is the point. But the really cool thing is that over time, as you do more and more parties and you diagnose yourself after the fact, you're going to see that all of these little things start to play into how you're doing your parties. You will slowly build a repertoire, and this stuff will become second nature to you. You'll never have a perfect party. You will never do all of these things. When I do my party tomorrow night, I promise you I will not do all these things. I won't remember because I'll be getting in the moment. You know how that goes, but that's just normal. So now the last component has to do with the checkout. And, when we're checking out, we're going to be getting objections from people. I'd love to, but, more times than not, you're going to get an objection when you invite people to host a party. I think that's the number one reason that I don't offer to people to do a party, because I just don't want to hear no one more time. And I have to remind myself that there are plenty of people who are never going to say yes to me. They're going to tell me no, they really don't want to. So sometimes I find a way of the way that I handle asking the question in the first place makes it easier for me to either take the no or to find a way what the no really means. So usually the way that I'll say it is, gosh, I sure hope you're thinking about doing a party sometime soon. That's just the way I say it. Gosh, I sure hope you're thinking about doing a party sometime soon. And it's kind of nice because that's just like what a friend would say. Gosh, I sure hope you're thinking about doing a party sometime soon. As opposed to, would you like to book a party? Because to me, that sounds really scary because I don't want somebody to ask me a direct question. So instead of me asking a direct question, I sort of couch it in a statement. Gosh, golly gee, I sure hope you're thinking about doing a party sometime. And she knows that I've asked her something. But some will want to book, some won't. It could be timing, size of the house. The hard part is this practicing handling objections, because that is a big part of the business. Now, this is where Liz and I are like, no, we don't want to do this. So obviously you're going to hear all the everythings. You're going to hear, I'm just too busy. My house is too small. It's under construction. I've got too many kids. I don't have any friends. All that stuff. And one of the keys is to not try to solve her problem, because if we start to say to her, oh, but, then we're basically going to be taken as arguing with her. That's the hard part. So let's talk about this a little bit. Common objections. I hate asking my friends to spend money. I'm too busy to have a party. My friends are partied out. I don't know enough people. So I want to switch and go back to stop share so we can look eyeball to eyeball and talk about some of these things and see what kinds of ideas we have. So let me just toss some of these out to you. I am hearing a lot right now. My house is too small. Oh, my apartment's just too small, right? Wendy's like, yeah, I know, because they have a lot of small houses with no basements in Florida. What kinds of things would you say? What would your first reaction be?
You can use my house.
Well, you can I always like to ask a question back, like, well, how much space do you think that you need?
Ooh, I love that. That's really good.
Also, people tend to congregate in one room anyway, so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. How much space do you think somebody would need? Can you find a way to use that same method with I'm too busy to have a party? I'm just too busy. Lori, how would you, can you use that same reply with a question?
I actually find that to be the hardest one to address. Because you can't really talk someone out of being busy, because in their mind they are busy. I mean, everyone is. So what I usually say, sometimes what I'll say if someone says I'm too busy, I'll say, well, is there a good time for you, or is there a night of the week when you're not typically as busy? Mm-hmm. Is there a night of the week that you're less busy or something like that?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Especially if they say, I'd really like to, but yeah. but I'm too busy. So you would try to ask them, is there a night when they're less busy? Okay. Or maybe even, is there a time frame in general when you're less busy? Yeah. That's good. What about my friends are partied out? I don't hear that one very often these days, but I think some of you do. What kinds of things could we ask?
I hear more of people don't want to come out to parties anymore. That's what I hear more than they're partied out. They don't, everybody wants to just do it on Facebook. They don't want to come out to a party.
Uh-huh.
And I usually come back with, but they really do like to get together with some girlfriends and have some time and, drink a glass of wine. I said, it's not really a party. I mean, you're just getting together and with some friends.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Does that work?
Not so much. Not yet, anyway.
Right. It's funny, Lori. You were saying, Sherry. Thank you for that, Lori. You bring up an interesting point. What if we turn it around into a question of some kind, to help her identify or analyze what she just said? What if we said something like to that one? My friends don't want to come to a party. Well, did you have fun tonight?
Yeah. I like to start with that question anyway when I'm chatting with people.
Uh-huh.
Like, did you have fun tonight? Because if they had fun, then I was just thinking back to the being too busy.
Mm-hmm.
It's important to have fun together with your friends, and even when we're busy, to carve out some time to do that,
Mm-hmm.
to get with your friends and have a good time.
Mm-hmm. Good point. What about the one where I don't know enough people?
When people say that to me, I usually say that I will help them with that, and that they probably know more people than they realize. And we have a brainstorming sheet to help them think about all the different circles of people that they know. And so that they probably, when you throw in not just friends, but also acquaintances, you do know more than you think that you do, typically, is what I say.
Does that work, or do they go like this?
It's worked some. Or if someone has said they just moved, I'll say, okay, well, maybe down the road. I mean, if you've literally just moved, you probably don't know anybody. So let's wait till you get to make some friends, and maybe in 6 months or something. So,
what about? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead, Liz.
Okay. Thanks. I was going to say, what about like even more of like, would you be willing to let me help you with that? Because sometimes it's just an excuse, and you want to know if they really want to do it, but find out if they're if they really would want to do it, if that wasn't a problem.
I've actually said, when I've heard that, I have had the wherewithal to say, I actually have a pretty simple system for inviting friends if I were to show you this simple system for making that happen, would that help you?
Hey, Betsey, how about also, I mean, if they say they don't have that many friends to invite, well, have your friends bring a friend. I mean, it's as simple as that.
Right. And everybody makes friends.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Betsey, I was going to say, when someone said that to me too, like they had moved into a new neighborhood, and I said, well, this would be a great way for you to meet your neighbors, invite your new neighbors, and that's a good way to get to know people.
Yeah. The extroverts of the world would love that. The introverts of the world would go, people I don't know coming into my house.
Yeah. I wanted to just offer a caution with this, though, because I made the mistake of saying, well, I can help you with that. I can help you finding your people. And she literally thought I was going to like give her a guest list, like of the people I knew. Like so what I have changed my verbiage to is, we have tools to assist you with identifying the people that you can invite instead of saying, I'm going to help you. Just because some people take that as, I'm going to do it for you, or I'm going to, I'm going to be able to tell you who to invite. So it's more just phrasing it so that it's your group, it's your people, it's your connections, but I'm going to help you maximize those.
Excellent. That's great distinction. I'm so glad you said that. Great words choices too. Any other thoughts? Any other objections that you have heard recently and have had either good or poor answers to? Because we love to hear the bad ones too. I've had plenty. I may have more tomorrow night. We'll find out.
I'm seeing. Right now. I'm hearing. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Rhonda.
No, that's okay. I was just going to say a lot of things I'm hearing too is, well, I have pets, and then I have to lock my pets up, and so I go, well, do you and your friends like to go out for happy hour? Because I can, I know a couple of places that'll let me, set up the jewelry in a corner booth or in a private little room, so long as I have enough warning or notice that I can call the restaurant and say, hey, I'm going to set up my jewelry and I have this group of people coming in. Then you're not having to dish out for food and drinks or clean your house or worry about your pets. And, they have a good happy hour menu and blah, blah, blah. And they're going, and I've done that to 2 people this week, and they're like, I'm going to get back to you because I think that's a great idea. So I haven't heard back, but, at least they're thinking about it. And, who knows? I go, or is there one near where you live versus near where I live that, I can just meet you there and I'll just set up, because everybody likes to go out for happy hour. Everybody's busy, but they have time for happy hour.
Great thinking. I love that. I got to tell you a funny story. One time I did a launch party for someone. She's not with us any longer, but she lived in downtown DC, and I wish she had put up her pet, because she had the biggest pit bull I have ever seen in my entire life, and he had flame red eyes.
Oh, gosh.
I was so convinced he was going to eat me alive. I understand why she had him, because it was a neighborhood where she was a single woman living alone, and it was really good for her to have that protection. But I was, just to your point, Rhonda, I was wishing that she'd put that dog up, because I was absolutely, I love dogs, and I was terrified of this dog.
But Wendy can attest to, I walk in a house with a dog, and they jump on me. I don't know why. They love to jump on me. I mean, I have neighbors' dogs that weigh more than I do that want to jump on me, and I don't know why. So when they say I have pets, I go, let's find a way that you don't have to worry about your pets, especially dogs.
Oh, that's funny. Well, good to know.
So Betsey, I have a question for you on the realm of good or bad responses here. I was at a winery event all weekend, and I met a lot of new people. I have leads for 4 parties right now.
Great.
All of whom, when I asked, what kind of time frame are you thinking? They all said after the holidays. So I have 4 potential January parties.
That's great, because I have a hard time booking January.
I always come back with, well, that's when the new line is coming out. That is the best time, when I know when they're thinking about. So, I'll probably be able to get them. Yeah. But if I wanted them sooner, like if you have somebody that says, yes, I want to do it, but 4 months from now, is there verbiage that you use to try to rein them in a little bit? Because nothing I've tried seems to work with that, unless it's like within the next week there's a super special that I can offer or whatever. But I don't know. Have you been successful with anything?
Yeah.
With that?
Yeah. And usually it's I would love to book out January. I've got this date and this date. But you know what else? I actually just had November 17th open up, and as well as the 21st. Or whatever, 2 other dates in November. And you might find that your friends would really appreciate the help with their Christmas shopping.
Okay.
That's the angle I was just thinking of with gift buying and holiday shopping. to get
That would
people
be
to
the
move
only
that.
angle I could think of.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
Anybody else? Any other thoughts on that one?
I have a question.
Yeah.
I keep giving the disclaimer I'm new. So not as new, but I just feel like I'm still finding my way. So I've booked to be part of a neighborhood sip and shop holiday event.
Fun.
Which I'm excited about, but I'm wondering. I know that I've talked with Lori a little bit about some people have some of their merchandise that people can just take, like pay and take. So any pearls of some of those, like ice earrings or that kind of thing.
I wouldn't order anything in.
No. Okay. So just go ahead and just keep doing orders the usual way. Okay.
And if somebody wants something that you happen to have, then you can sell it off the table and just replace it for yourself if you want to.
Okay.
But I don't order anything in. Every time I have tried to do that over the years, I have been dead wrong.
Okay.
And kicked myself afterwards. So just,
I can weigh in on that a little bit.
Okay.
I just did a vendor event, and I made little tiny price tags for each piece of jewelry that included the party shipping and the tax, so they knew what the price was inclusive. And then I just had them fill out an order form with their credit card. So they took the piece with them, but then I charged their credit card that night. That worked for me. But it took a long time to make out the little tags, but it was worth it because then they knew what the full price was right away.
Sure. Okay.
Okay. Great. Good job. Ingenuity. Anybody else any other comments about that? Thoughts? That's great, Sue. Congratulations.
Working on it.
Oh, yeah. You know what? It's funny. You just keep trying to see what'll work and how you can get into places and make inroads. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm feeling pleased with what I've done so far. It's just the continuation of momentum stretching out a little bit more.
Yeah, that's really good. You're building a new muscle. And the things that were, difficult 2 weeks ago will be easy 2 weeks from now.
And I just told Lori that last week that I'm much more comfortable in things that I was nervous about previously. So
that's great.
It's slow but sure. Yeah.
That's just normal. Yeah, just normal. I'm so glad that you're persevering and willing to feel uncomfortable, so that you can just keep learning and learning and learning. I think for all of us that the real goal is to keep the learning and the curiosity at the forefront. Like, oh, what can I learn today about how to do this better?
Mm-hmm.
What am I missing? Gosh, I bet I could find a way to make my parties better. I wonder how I can, keeping it so that it's not all about self-recrimination. I'm not a good whatever. No, it isn't that at all. It's what can I learn? How can what didn't I pick up on the first time or the 17th time? What can I do a little differently? What can I tweak this next party, to keep getting a little bit better at this? That's just normal. That's being an entrepreneur. Okay. Session 2 action steps. Book 2 more parties in the next 24 to 48 hours. I am so excited. I keep hearing stories from all of you about the parties that you're getting on your calendars. You're working hard, and I know you are, and I promise you that you are going to get the results that you want. A couple more videos on Glam Central you can be looking at. There are some about the booking offers and games. If you want some more ideas on that, if you want more booking tips, there are more videos. And then again, I would really strongly recommend watching the party presentation. If you're new and you're not sure just how to really ingest it and get it in your heart and your soul, like how this 5-part party presentation really works. Keep watching it over and over again until you feel like you understand why they say the things that they do. And then keep working through your participant worksheets. Go back for a few minutes, even when we're done, for the next 5 minutes after we close. Go back and make your notes in these things because it'll help to recap in your brain as we finish. And then for those of you who want to, I would love to see some of you do your weekly activity tracker I can't guarantee that I'm going to do it, but maybe I will. I have a really busy week, but that would actually be really good for me if I would do it. And next week we'll be talking about host coaching, because it is the #1 miss in Party Plan today is good host coaching, because it's going to make all the difference in having strong parties. I am just so enamored with and crazy about all of you. I cannot thank you enough for being on the call tonight. I love seeing your faces. I love having you on here. And I'm just so proud of everything that you're doing. As always, any questions, let us know. I'll hang on for a couple minutes, for just a moment, if somebody has an idea, but only for a moment, because I'm going to fall apart. Let's see. I'll post the presentation. Okay, I'll do that. I'll post the presentation as a document, and I'll post the slides too. I don't mind. I've just got it. It's just all in here. So,
can I make a really quick request for the next week too? Yep. For some reason in the event, where the location of Zoom is not a clickable link. So I don't know if
so I had that trouble too.
I have to literally type it in, and so I didn't know if you could post it into the actual event, like as a comment or something, so we could just click on it.
Yeah, let me go ahead and do that again. Sure. Thank you for saying that. I appreciate it. I didn't want to make it any harder on you than it already is to grab it. I will do that.
I think we can actually bookmark it, can't we? Because it's the same. It's for just the Zoom and then the phone number afterwards. So you could probably just bookmark it on your, whatever that bar is on your computer.
That's true. You're
assuming we all know how to do that.
Yeah, this Zoom is literally the only one that I ever use. We use this one for Monday nights. Whenever I get on Zoom with any of you, like with one or two other people, it's always this link. So if there's a way to save it in your phone, save it on your laptop.
I was going to say there's a super easy. You have that short link still, right? That's
TC Bling.
It's tinyurl.com/tcbling.
Yeah.
It's so easy to remember if you're going to type it in.
Say that again, tinyurl.com.
tinyurl.com. tinyurl.com / tcbling. T for touchstone, C for crystal, BLING. That's what I do. Like when I can't find the link, I just type that in.
There it is. I just typed it in the comments. Thank you for that. I actually have it as an auto type thing in my iPhone. Mm-hmm. So when I type BB Zoom, it automatically comes out the whole string. But you could even type it in on your phone as,
Yeah, it's the second one that she typed here. It's tinyurl.com / tcbling.
And what will that do if I click that?
This.
It brings up the Zoom. Okay. Yeah, it's a short link that you can remember, so you don't have to know all those numbers and stuff. It does exactly the same as that long string of
numbers.
Okay.
Numbers and letters or whatever.
Yeah. Chastity made that for us last year, and it's been a big help. Okay. All right, ladies. Thank you. I really appreciate you all. So impressed. Y'all take care. Have a wonderful, wonderful week. I appreciate it. Oh, tomorrow night. Thank you. Liz, you're doing the 7. No,
Jacqueline's doing
7:30.
Wendy's doing 8 o'clock.
Wendy, I'll get with you tomorrow. And then Heather Russell is talking about the 10 minutes before the party tomorrow night at 8:30 on the Hot Topic. It's going to be a really good Hot Topic, because it's mindset and what to think about 10 minutes before you start your party. All right. Have a great night.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.